Okay, I think we have 5 minutes now left in the half an hour.
Right.
Okay, so I tried to get really simple. I talked with Brent and said, okay, I need to not think like an accountant. I need to think not like an accountant, which is hard. That's why things always have grids and linear lines for me. So I'm trying to think more simplistic. So what's different in 2012? Well, we get a grant from the provincial government and we're getting a bit more in 2012 and 2013. So we've got extra revenue of about 85,000. We're not 100% confident of that, but that's what it looks like. They kind of give us indications, but they won't answer direct questions when we ask them. So we think we have an extra 85,000. And you'll recall 30,000 is about a 1% tax increase, so an extra 85,000 is kind of good. Expenses, staff or management team was directed to prepare their budgets based on very frugal, don't ask for more money. And there are some increases, as we all know, fuel's gone up, you know, there's all these increases. So some have gone up, some have gone down, and more details are in this kind of small document that's page 4 and 5. But I'm trying to be general overview. So really it's not gone up much. The main increase is the library board has requested an extra FTE. Now that goes through their board, they approve it, they make a recommendation to you. So that's the one that has come forward. I would say every manager, though, does not feel that their budget is adequate. I know I don't feel my budget's adequate. I know I've talked to lots of managers who say, we can't keep going this way. We don't have enough money to operate. And we're not able to do what we need to do. See, we can't conquer the crickets on Bowen. Projects and capital, now this is only things that are funded from general taxation or from surplus. And generally, that's going up about 65,000. And again, I'm just being super general here. Some things are higher, some things are lower. The main thing is the library roof, the building that the library is in. Last year, we put it off. We said, okay, let's not pay for a new roof. This year, we're saying, you know what, we need to rebudget that. So that's at 125,000. Again, this has not been prioritized. These are just things that we have that we said need to be done. There isn't a funding source for about 50,000 of that 125,000. So that's being shown as coming out of general taxation. And again, 30,000, that's about 1.5% tax increase. The other big thing is, in the past, council has indicated they would like to start repaying themselves back for the wastewater treatment plant. Costs of 721,000, our costs of 721,000. And in the past, they had said, over 10 years, let's take 72,000 each year for 10 years and pay that back into our savings account. So I've shown that in there. That's controversial, and it's something that we can talk about, but right now I'm showing that 72,000 going in back into our savings account out of general taxation. And we don't have time to talk about that, but that's just what's in there right now. That'll be the year 1 of 10. And then the last item is a little bit more convoluted and complicated, and I know normally we fund our roads capital program out of general taxation. There's some rockfall concerns from our director of engineering, or our manager of engineering, and he's indicated he needs to do some rockfall hazard work of about 150,000, which is an increase over last year of 120 more than last year. Now it's possible that could be put off. Lots of things can be put off, but they eventually need to be addressed. So I'm showing that. I'm also showing setting aside, we have a policy that says we need to set aside an increase of property tax of 1.5% each year into our infrastructure replacement. So that's 51,000. Just being general here. And I'm just gonna zip right through, but generally, everything's pretty status quo, very frugal, and it still comes in at 9.4% tax increase needed to pay for that. Now, we could make some, you know, put off the roof, put off the rockfall hazard, put off the library request for more FTE. We could put off all of that stuff. But there's a big ongoing elephant, right? That this is just every year going to be a challenge because we're a small community with lots of expectations on the tax dollars. So that's, I just wanted to get that out there, and that's what I am trying to say in this memo. Additionally, there's 3 main things that have not got any budget at all. And there's probably 10 more things or 20 more things that don't have a budget, but I just wanted to point out 3 big things. If there's any changes to the OCP, any external costs that we need to make any changes, that hasn't been budgeted for. If there's ongoing work to be considered for the snug code implementation, any work around that, there's no cost been budgeted for consultants' costs or for any work to do with that. And thirdly, last year we budgeted to hire a consultant to look at our wage bands. There are some staff who are not at an appropriate wage level. And also there's some policies that need to be upgraded or more solidified. We're kind of still running on our old policies from half dozen years ago, and they're getting out of touch. Because we're not a union operation, we don't have that kind of mandated every 3 years we look at these things, and so they're starting to slip. And the consultant has come back, and there's about a $50,000 to $100,000 worth of implications in there. And the staff haven't seen the results of this study yet. Really, we just got this study at the end of December, so that's very preliminary at this point, but I know that there's dollar implications in there. The last page of my report just goes through the capital, I don't even want to call it a wish list, it's a frugal wish list, but it hasn't been prioritized. It hasn't, we haven't gone through it and said, no, we're not doing that, yes, we're doing that. It's just the list of items that the managers have identified are needed. Some of them have a funding source, like a reserve, but it still depletes our savings. Others come from general taxation. So I won't go through that in detail. And that's the end of my report.
Karen, can I just ask you
Yeah.
a question about the no budget for the 3 important items? The Human Resources Policy and wage band review,
Yep.
that went to an outside human resources person,
We hired a consultant, yes.
and there's nobody on staff that could do that.
Well, we kept trying to meet, and it just was not possible in our workload to get it done. And this person in the end was super helpful and very knowledgeable, and it worked out really well.
All right. It's not happy news, the 9.4%.
It's not, and that's frugal, and I think I said up here that staff, I've said it somewhere, that staff have all indicated that this is, here in my italics above those 3 unfunded items. There is management consensus that the resources are not adequate to support the services and service levels. And I keep trying to draw that distinction. Here's what we're doing, and here's the level of energy we're putting into doing that. So here's what we're doing, the services and the service levels that the municipality has grown to provide. And I think that's the challenge, is we're new and we've just gone like this, and all of a sudden we're like, whoa, we can't support that infrastructure. We don't have enough set aside, like every municipality around North America, to replace our aging infrastructure. So we're trying to do what we can to save money, but we're also getting bigger each day. We now have, we have a library, we have roads that need replacing, we have, we can all create our lists of things that we do.
Our next item of business is our Chief Financial Officer regarding, item number 5.2, council regarding feedback to staff on format of town hall meeting on January 14th. I'm sorry, Mayor Adler, if we can go back to the previous item, there was a recommendation from staff, and I've changed the name of the committee a bit, that council directs staff to develop terms of reference for a financial advisory committee based on discussions held at the January 9th, 2012 council meeting.
So, just that it's not in the right, shouldn't this be dealt with after we have the January 14th?
Well, I think this allows staff to do some research for other municipalities, and just a starting base.
As a starting
and
point?
that will inform
Okay.
the information on Saturday will add to that as well. Just gets us going a bit this week.
Maybe we could add, based on discussions of the January 9th council and input at the January 14th town hall.
Right.
Did you get that, Kat?
Yes. Would you like me to reread it prior?
Sure.
And then council can move and second it? That council directs staff to develop terms of reference for our financial advisory committee based on discussions held at the January 9th, 2012 council meeting and input from the January 14th, 2012 town hall meeting. And we need a mover and seconder for that.
So, second. Moved and seconded. Did you get that?
Yes.
All right, any questions? All those in favor? Motion
And now, as staff, we're looking for feedback from council on the format of what we should be doing to prepare for Saturday's town hall meeting.
Shall I speak to that just for a moment? If I can, I'll jump in and the town hall meeting on Saturday has been advertised as a discussion of committee and volunteerism as a way of encouraging participation in the business of council, and I'm just responding to some of the discussion that took place in the December 12th meeting, and we're just wanting a short discussion and highlighting for you folks to do with what you see Saturday unfolding. There has been a variety of input between councilors, but didn't come back to staff in terms of clarification. As of right now, in terms of moving forward on Saturday, we're gonna use this venue. We did not want to take on the rental of Gates Hill Chapel and the establishment of something that was really vague at this point as to how Saturday was unfold. Traditionally, a town hall meeting has been one where people come in, express their opinions on a variety of topics. In this case, we're encouraging comments on committee work and volunteering to help with council business. And our anticipation would be that we would just hear those comments, compile notes, and use that as information going forward. That's how we see the day unfolding at this stage. We wanted any other comments from you folks at this point that might change that. The notion of workshopping it and within a 2-hour period and having something more elaborate was not set up with staff.
I'd like, I'm in agreement on basis, basically of that, but I'd like to see some component in the meeting that is off topic and basically allows for, basically any expressions from the public,
On
On anything?
on anything. Basically on concerns and things that we don't necessarily have on the agenda, because apart from working towards committee structures and volunteerism, we're also trying to encourage basically dialogue on things that are important to the community, I should say.
Which is a norm for, I think, as Brett was saying, for a town hall meeting, it's more receiving feedback from the community.
So whether it was whether it's a small component of the meeting, whether it's a half-hour section of the meeting possibly, that people can put forward any particular subject they want, I'd like to see that too.
I just